Every year there's always an animated film that everyone seems to forget about, and for this year that has to be Vivo. To this day, I still hear people talk about Mitchell's or Luca or Encanto, but never Vivo. It's likely due to the fact that Netflix didn't advertise the movie a whole lot, and I'm not entirely sure why. Mitchell's got a lot of promos before it came out, so did Netflix just not have faith in this movie? Were a lot of people forgetting it on purpose because they thought it was bad? I really hope that's not the case, because for me, Vivo is a quaint little film that hits more highs than lows. The film stars the titular Kinkajou Vivo, played by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and loves to play music together with his master Andre. One day after their show, Andre receives a letter from an old friend of his that offers a chance to reconnect with her in Florida. Yikes, too soon. He writes her a song to sing when he meets her, but sadly, Andre passes away in his sleep, so Vivo decides to follow his niece-in-law and her daughter back to Florida so he can deliver the song to Andres' old friend himself. So first off, the emotional core to this movie is easily its best attribute. The beginning sets up a strong relationship Vivo and Andre, and that dynamic between them carries throughout the whole movie, even when Andre is dead. Vivo is really determined to deliver the letter to his old friend, especially seeing he was reluctant about it at first. He wants to make all this up to him and make sure his old friend gets the song that he really wanted to sing to her. And those last few minutes, which I'll try not to spoil, was the sweetest thing ever. I didn't really cry, but I was emotional. The movie does a really good job at setting up the bond between several characters, whether that be Vivo or Andre and his old friend, or especially Vivo and the main girl Gabby. It's a movie that has a very strong beginning and strong end. As for the middle parts of it, they aren't as good as everything else, but they're still okay. It's pretty much just one big adventure movie where Vivo and Gabby traverse some dangerous locales in order to get the song delivered, and there's some pretty fun moments like these Girl Scouts who shame them for using plastic bags, or some fun animal characters in the swamp who help Vivo out. The swamp scenes did go on a little bit too long, but they weren't bad at all. I especially love the snake, played by Michael Rooker, who'll try to eat anything that disturbs his peace and quiet. Given that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote this movie, it's also a musical. Truth be told, I don't remember most of them. The only ones I remember were the songs towards the beginning and that song at the end. They aren't bad songs, they just didn't leave the biggest impact on me. Oh, and speaking of Lin, let's talk about him for a second. Now, I don't have anything against this guy. He's a talented performer and can write some stellar music, but when it comes to his vocals, they aren't that great. He sings most of the songs in this movie, and look, I don't think he's a bad singer, but he's not a great one either. Sometimes it sounds like it was pitch corrected, and other times it feels like there should have been another take. I think a big problem I have regarding Lin in this movie is, why did they decide to make Vivo talk? You might say they needed to make him talk so he could sing, but you could still do that without having all of this verbal nonsense. And to make matters worse, he can't communicate with any of the other humans, yet he's still able to sync with their performances brilliantly. If he can't even communicate with them properly, what was the point of having him talk continuously throughout the film? I can't help but feel Lin only did this so he could show off his acting skills, but I don't think he's a very good voice actor either. Aside from that, I don't really have too much else to say. I guess I can't make a huge fuss about how Vivo didn't grab as many audiences as Mitchell's did, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a bad movie. I'm happy we're in a period where Sony Animation is focusing more on making actual good movies, not because they have to, but just because they seem to like using their best talent nowadays. I mean, yeah, that didn't save Wish Dragon from being a boring rehash, but it's good they're at least trying. Vivo is a cute, harmless, and decently fun film that I'm sure kids will love. I definitely had a good time watching it, and I'll likely come back to it again in the future.